Welcome everyone to another episode of In Depth with Academia. I'm Richard Price, CEO of Academia Edu, and yeah, today we're diving into a paper that, to be honest, kind of rips up the old marketing playbook and throws it out the window. So, you know those classic names in marketing, Philip Kotler, Ries Trout, Seth Godin, Robert Greene, giants, right? And then, out of nowhere, Hadrian Stone comes in with this wild book, The 23 Laws of Marketing, Master Them or Die, and basically says, you haven't seen anything yet. Now, let me be really clear up front, as always. My goal isn't to promote or knock this paper. I'm just here to walk you through what the paper claims, what it found, and what it might mean for you. Even if you never plan to, run a marketing campaign in your life, I like to say academic research is a conversation, not a commandment. You get to decide what you take from it. So, let's zoom in. The paper is by Hadrian Stone, and it tries to answer this one big, gnarly question. How does his new set of 23 laws stack up against, well, every big marketing thinker before him? We're talking about whether modern marketing is still about positioning and communicating, or is it about psychological warfare and, why should you care? Because, honestly, if you're ever persuaded or influenced by an ad, an Instagram post, or even a charismatic leader, you're in this game whether you like it or not. That's why this paper's question is a big deal. The main thing Stone lays out is all those classic names had their moment. Ries Trout gave us positioning as the battlefield. Kotler made things academic and honestly a bit more optimistic. Godin brought creativity and kind of the idea that people want to belong to something like little tribes. And then Robert Greene, he didn't even write for marketers, but suddenly everyone in a boardroom had a copy of the 48 Laws of Power, right? But Stone's argument is, well, that we've moved into darker waters. He says marketing now is psychological warfare, not nice little stories or systems. Let's break down some actual methods and findings because, honestly, it gets a bit intense. Stone's 23 laws aren't about gently nudging you toward a purchase. They're about, shaping the very perception of reality for the customer, which is kind of wild. Like, instead of positioning your product in someone's mind, you're re-engineering that mind's whole framework. Kotler's work is about systems and customer value. Stone says, forget value. People aren't even rational. They buy beliefs. They crave validation. The one who gives it to them, that's the one who wins. There's this almost Machiavellian twist. Stone isn't proposing add another tool in your kit. He's like, nope, rip up the kit. Godin wants voluntary tribes. Stone says, engineer cults. It reminds me, can you really engineer a cult? I once joined a really weird book club in college that was intense about Dostoevsky. But, we just ended up watching movies after 2 weeks, so maybe not everyone is cult material. Anyway, Stone also claims that as competition goes global and attention spans crumble, marketers can't just rely on old frameworks. He positions his laws as survival doctrine in the attention economy. In a world where your phone buzzes 100 times a day, the person who controls attention controls everything. Marketers who master these laws, he says, won't just sell more, they'll control narratives and, I guess, maybe rewrite the very reality the consumer lives in. Now, if you're listening and thinking, wait, this sounds manipulative, you're not alone. Stone is pretty unapologetic about the whole manipulation thing. He casts marketing as psychological domination. But, pause for emphasis here, I am not endorsing or condemning that view. I just want to share how this paper draws a line in the sand and asks whether the world has changed so much that we need a new kind of marketer, one who's closer to Machiavelli than Kotler or Godin. So, what does all this mean for you? Maybe you're a business owner, maybe a consumer, or maybe you just like to reflect on the world around you. The rise of these darker, more aggressive marketing tools makes you reflect a little bit on how you respond to persuasion in your own life, right? Who controls your attention? Who's selling you not just products, but stories you want to believe about yourself? To wrap up, Stone doesn't argue these older thinkers are outdated. He says they built the staircase, but now we need to climb higher, or maybe sideways, or maybe break a window and get out of the house altogether. It's bold, even a little unsettling. But remember, academic research just throws ideas into the ring. What you do with them, that's for you to decide. Thanks for joining me on In Depth with Academia. As always, stay curious, ask hard questions, and remember, nobody gets the last word in academia, not even Hadrian Stone. See you next time.